Hey everyone. So I have a few books to go over today because they've kind of I don't didn't think I was reading any more than I usually am, but they seem to add up. So we'll go through those. I'm not feeling the greatest today, so I was going to put this off, but one of them is an arc that I wanted to review as quickly as I could. So here we are. But I got on my cozy sweater, and that always helps everything feel better, right? Okay, so the first one is Private Princess by James Patterson and Rhys Jones. And this is one that Wonderful Husband and I read together. So it's about Princess Caroline, who's third in line to the British throne in the book. And she needs Jack Morgan, who is the head of Private, to come find her friend Sophie Edwards. So Sophie's a bit of a loose cannon and is known to run kind of with the wrong crowd. So the princess is curious as to what happened to her. And so it's about them looking for her, and then some other things kind of turns out to be a much bigger deal than what they thought it was. So it's quite a chase all through the book, and you get kind of a different look at Jack Morgan than what you do in some of the other private books. He becomes very emotional and not quite as logical as he usually is because of something that happens. So I thought it was good. We both really seem to like it. I would say it's probably about a 4 out of 5 stars. So the next one is the third in the Cleopatra Fox series, which I've been really enjoying. So this one was called Murder in the Drawing Room. And with this one, Harry Armitage has been investigating, and Theo's kind of been, or Cleo has been kind of pushing her way into those investigations. But this time he actually contacts her and gives her own investigation, mainly because it's a cheating spouse and he really doesn't want it. So he's not really doing her any favors. But anyway, she takes it, and so she starts looking into that. And then when someone is killed, it becomes a much bigger investigation. So it's all about her trying to solve that while still being under the watchful eye of her aunt and uncle. So she's, doing the best she can, but there are times she really has to come up with some kind of excuse for where she's been. So really enjoyed that one. Really found that every book seems to get better and better because you get more involved in the characters and more interested in what they're doing, and you're it's kind of like like a will they won't they with the romance, like they seem to have something, but yet at the same time it's not really going anywhere. So anyway, it's been really good and I really enjoyed it, and I'd give that one a 5 out of 5. So the next one, it's number 4 in the Happily Everlasting World series, and I haven't read any of the other ones, but did come across this one and decided I'd give it a try. It's called Witchful Thinking, and it's by Kristen Painter. And so this one I thought was really good. It was about Charlotte Fenchurch. She's our main character, and she knows that she's a witch, but she's a very fledgling witch. She doesn't really have much in the way of powers. She knows how to do a couple of spells, but that's about it. She does have a mentor that's trying to teach her, but so far, this is what she knows. And she works at a library. So she is the assistant librarian. The head librarian has been there a long time. And the head librarian finds this book that she looks at. And it's all tattered and beat up, and the cover's not even there. And so the head librarian throws it in the trash. Well, Charlotte can't stand to see any book thrown in the trash. So she ends up picking this up out of the trash. And when she does, when she sees it, it's a totally different book and doesn't seem like it's ruined at all. So she decides to keep it, and she knows it has something to do with magic. So she takes it home to see what she can do with it. And in the meantime, there's a leopard shifter named Walker Black who knows what's odd about the book. He knows all about the book, and he's working with a magical community to try to stop the book from existing because it contains black magic. So he ends up meeting up with Charlotte, and he's not sure whether he trusts her or not because he's also a witch hunter, and she is a witch. So he's really kind of, nervous about what to tell her, what not to tell her. But the more time they spend together, the more enamored he becomes of her. So it turns into a real romance between the two of them, as well as dealing with this book. So really cute premise, and I don't think I've ever read a shifter book that I can think of. Oh, maybe a couple, but not. That was kind of an aside to the book. It wasn't really the main part of the book. So I guess that's the way I think of it. But anyway, the romance between them was terrific. They both had a lot of growth in the book, which I really like in characters. Particularly Charlotte, she really comes into her own during this book, and really loved it. And not someone I'd ever heard of, not a series I'd ever heard of. So was really glad this ended up on my radar. And I will definitely go back and read the other ones because yeah, I thought it was great. So that one was a 5 out of 5 as well. So then we come to our arc. So the arc I got from Book Sirens. So thank you to them and to the author and publisher. And I've been trying to read as many of these as I can, or at least it's on my mind to read as many of these as I can, because there is a series for fall called the Coffee Loft series, or maybe it's the Coffee Loft collection, something like that. And it's their fall collection, and it's all different authors, but it all has to do with fall and coffee, and I like both those things. So so this one was called "You Mocha Me Crazy," and so it was really cute. It was about Aurora, who is working to get this coffee loft franchise up and running. And she's partnering with her friend Lacey, and it's a really cute idea because Lacey wants to put a early learning play center next to the coffee shop so that parents can sit in the coffee shop and still see their kids in the play center and can go back and forth. And so it sounded like a great plan. It's like made me wonder why people haven't actually done that because that seems like it would be a really smart idea. Um, so as she's doing this and they're getting this all up and running, this guy who she felt had bullied her in middle school shows up back in town, and it turns out he's not quite who she thought he was. So they start to develop a bit of a romance. So the whole thing is I mean, it was good, and I really enjoyed the romance part itself, and I enjoyed the characters, but because there was some talk of bullying back in middle school, and then some of the mean girls that were involved are still like that today, and she's taking it like she's allowing that to happen. So I feel in that way. Um, I didn't like that part of it because um, I really just wanted to reach in and say like stand up to those bullies, and I couldn't do that. But that aside, the rest of it was good, and eventually everything works out the way that it's supposed to. So with that one, I did enjoy it, and I would give it a 4 out of 5. So the next one was one that I just kind of, it was a whim, right? It was just a whim to start it. It was Elevation by Stephen King. So, I mean, you all know I'm not big on, scary things and horror and all that. So it's been many, many years since I read a Stephen King. But this was just a novella and it didn't sound scary. So I thought, okay, we'll give it a try. It was actually really good. He is such an amazing writer. I mean, whether you like that genre or not, he is the king. So anyway, it was about takes place in Castle Rock, of course, which I think is where all of his books take place. And this time it's about a man named Scott who has this illness, we're assuming, where he just keeps losing weight. And he goes to his doctor friend about it, and, it just gets stranger and stranger for him. He just keeps losing more and more, but he feels fine. And he has a couple of neighbors who have a same sex marriage, and he asked them to make sure that like their dog didn't do his business on their lawn, on his lawn. and they there was kind of a confrontation between them all. So then they start thinking it's because he doesn't like the fact that they have a same-sex marriage. Really, that's not it. He just doesn't want the dog doing the thing. So they eventually start to become friends and kind of get involved in this whole thing with him and his weight loss, and it kind of goes on from there. So it was done really well. A little weird to read a novella. I'm not really a novella person because when the story always feels like it ends abruptly to me. But anyway, it was good. There is a second tiny thing at the end, which is like, I'm not even sure I'd call it another novella. It's more like a little bonus. So that part I just didn't care one way or the other about. But the actual novella part I thought was good. And for what it was, for the fact that it was a novella and the fact that it was, as well done as it was, I would give it 5 out of 5. Now, would I prefer it to be an actual full length novel? You bet. But still, it was good. So the next one, and see, I told you I read a lot. The next one is called One Poison Pie, and it is number one in the Kitchen Witch Mysteries. So the first thing with this one is she had a cat named Mr. Darcy, which I thought was kind of adorable. So I thought that was worth pointing out. But this is about Mia Malone, and she moves to her grandmother's Idaho hometown. So it says magic is an open secret. And so she starts up a new gourmet dinner delivery business, and she's trying to get that up and running. And then her ex's little sister arrives looking for a place to stay, and she's okay, we'll just keep going. But then when she does her first catering job and a dead body turns up, she's the prime suspect, and all of a sudden her world's turned upside down. So listen to this one on Libby, I think. I've now that I don't have Audible, I'm listening on 2 or 3 different things. So I think this one was Libby, but it was really cute, really well done. Very much what I kind of expected, I guess, as far as like a little paranormal cozy. But I did enjoy it, and I would give this one 4 out of 5 as well. So the next one was interesting and not what I expected. This one was called New Witch on the Block by Louisa West, and I thought, and it's totally mine, fault, but I thought it was a cozy paranormal. No, it's not. So don't think that it is. It does not say anywhere that it is a cozy paranormal. It just says it's paranormal. So it was good, and it was I think nowadays people are saying it's cozy adjacent or something like that, but it's cozy-ish. We'll say that. The kind of realized it wasn't cozy when I got about halfway through, and there was a couple of steamy paragraphs, and I went, "Oh, that's interesting." And then a little later in the story, there was a couple of f bombs, and that was the point where my mind just went, "Okay, this is not a cozy." So anyway, it was a good story. It was this one's about Rosemary, and she takes her daughter and moves away from her. I don't know if he's her ex-husband or her husband, but either way, she takes her daughter and she leaves because he's very abusive to her and to their daughter. So that's fine. She moves into this cottage in Mosswood, Georgia. I was trying to think if it was a family cottage, but not that I see. Anyway, so she moves there, and this Irish guy shows up and says that she is the witch queen and he is the witch king. And he's her neighbor and starts, kind of spending time with her and with her daughter. She doesn't even know she is a witch and doesn't realize it until something happens. And because she can't control her powers yet, something happens and she realizes, like, oh, I apparently do have powers. So then he helps her to ward the place against her ex-husband and helps her with some other things that are going on and kind of teaches her what it means to be a witch. And in the meantime, she starts to fall for him. And it was really good. It had a really good conclusion, and it is the first in the series, I think. Yeah, the first in the Mosswood mystery series, I think it is, or that's too tiny to read in my notes. Mosswood Middle Age Witches or something. Anyway, but it is book one in that series, and I would check out the other ones, and I would give that one a 3.5 rounded up to 4. And so the next one, let me see, do we have more? Oh no, that's the last one. Yay! I knew I read a lot. So anyway, got a couple off of the TBR for October, but as you can see, I've kind of been all over the place. I do have 2 or 3 on the go right now. Wonderful Husband and I are reading the second in the Sarah Moss series, Court of Thorns and Roses. We're on the second one. And then I've been reading Better Hate Than Never by Chloe Lees, which has confused me a tiny bit because I thought it was a Bergman Brothers mystery, or not mystery, a Bergman Brothers book, and it turns out it's not. But anyway, it's still good. And then I'm also getting ready to start the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So yeah, we got a lot on the go, but so far enjoying it. And with me not feeling the greatest today, I'm sure I'll just curl up and read for a good portion of the day. So we will talk again soon. All right, bye bye, friends.